Hello, everybody, and welcome into the. This is it. This is the final ever edition of the Rundown with Caleb and Casey. This is it right here. Just want to break the. Just kidding. April Fools.
April Fools.
I don't know. I just kind of thought of that on a whim. Actually, I
I-
didn't even have that planned until about 5 seconds ago.
I was like, wow, this is news to me, and then I remembered it was April Fools.
That would be a sad day in the hearts of dozens of people.
Mhm.
Really, dozens of people's worlds would be shaken.
Tens of singles, dude. That's
Tens of singles. It's one way to.
sorry. I
it's
look
one way
a
to
little
phrase it.
pink. It's the editing from the group before us. I look like a Smurf, but it's
Casey
got-
just came out of a nice whole spray tan.
Yep. It looks fantastic. Shall we head into it?
Let's go here. We're gonna be a shorter pod today, but it also is. We're entering the off season number 2 of the Rundown with Caleb and Casey, second ever one. But I feel like last summer we had a good off season, right?
Yeah.
Well, this
Is it
summer,
really the off season for us? I feel like
that
the
might
off
be our
season.
best season.
It's kind of when because we got to get creative with it. We got to get unique.
yeah.
You know, we get deep in our bag, you know, we get the tween behind, you know,
Yeah.
gotta pull out all the moves, hit him with a little Milan fadeaway off the backboard.
Yeah, I feel you. It's as Josh Pate, our friend Josh Pate would say, there is no off season.
Yeah.
Right. You gotta whisper it. But we'll bring back the Factual Five. Maybe some new segments.
Maybe.
Some more guests on the program potentially.
Yeah.
We've already had an esteemed list of Jake Euling, Chase Rue, and Ross Polking ×2.
Keller Cox.
Keller
Was
Cox,
on there.
yes, he was. He no doubt was. So I feel like we need a Dan Holt appearance at some point.
I feel like that'll be definitely in the future.
All right. But yes, off season, we're not going anywhere. We're here, baby. Let's dive in since we're low on time today. Just start with Iowa State basketball, kind of portal in general. I got to eat crow. Last week we were sitting here on the mic and I was saying, man, by the end of this recording, Oscar Clough might already be committed to Iowa State. And now he's a Purdue Boilermaker. So that's a bummer. That's a big time bummer. I think it was like all those cryptic tweets on Twitter that were making me think it was Oscar Clough, but I think it was about the Mason Williams guy who transferred from Eastern Washington, the guard.
Yeah.
I think that's who it was about because he committed.
He
like, I
committed
think the
that
next
day.
that day maybe.
Yeah.
So Cyclones currently have 3 guys out of the portal. So we talked about Eric Mulder. Got this Mason Williams from Eastern Washington, and then Blake Buchanan from Virginia. Center. Yeah, I don't know. The Oscar Clough one is a bummer. I think he would have been huge. It sounds like it was probably a bidding war for Purdue, and he ended up taking that. They definitely. I think the writing's kind of on the wall there. They had more money to offer him. And then Andrew Rohde, a guard from Virginia, he is not committed anywhere yet. It sounded like he was almost a shoo-in going back to yesterday, but now he's going to visit Wisconsin, so I don't know what the deal is here. I guess time will tell, but what do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, start obviously with Mason Williams, 6'5", sophomore from Eastern Washington, will play a guard. He's kind of filling in that Keyshawn role, 14, 3-3 last season, 43% from the field, 34% from 3, 90% from the free throw line. 1.2 steals per game, but does average 2.6 turnovers, so he's got 2 years of eligibility with him.
Yeah, I was going to say, he kind of seems like maybe that slasher kind of guy.
Slasher, but can step out and shoot the ball as well.
Yeah.
And then Blake Buchanan, filling that center role. He might start just because right now he's our only center.
Yeah.
6'11", sophomore, so he'll be a junior next year as well. 5'1", and 1 block, averaging in 32 games with Virginia, 22 minutes. Did have 5 games in double-digit scoring, 3 with double-digit boards, and he had 1 double-double last season. Went 11-15 in a 54-52 loss to SMU. He kind of feels like Chatfield to me. Or no, sorry. Mulder's Chatfield. Eric Mulder, power forward, 6'8" from Fort Wayne, averaged 8 and 6, 76% from the field. Was 1 or 2 for most efficient player in the nation.
Yeah, I think he was number 1, but all of his shots were like right around
Yeah,
the rim.
I mean he's
Yeah,
taken
bunch of dunks.
he's taken 9 3-pointers in his 3 years at Purdue Fort Wayne. He did have 12 and 11 against Penn State and 11 and 6 against UCF, so he has kind of shown out against some tougher competition.
Sure. Yeah.
Really bad from the free throw line, has no range. He feels like that Chatfield 2.0. He's going to come off the bench, give you quality minutes, maybe more of a scorer than Chatfield was. You know, he's great around the basket. It'll allow, maybe if we go a smaller lineup, put him in the paint, allow Jefferson to kind of stretch out and expand, you know, put a bigger guy out on the wing. You got to develop Jefferson's shooting a little bit better to make that really a challenge so they don't just sag off everyone.
Yeah, and Iowa native too, which
Yeah.
that always helps.
Always helps. The issue is going to be like, I wouldn't say it's an issue. It's just going to be interesting to see, you know, is Buchanan going to start? Are they going to go with one of these freshmen they're bringing in? Are they going to go small and put 2 power forwards out there and not have a true center? Like, but you think, you know, a lot of these teams have bigger centers. UCF's got that freshman if he stays there. I haven't heard anything about him hitting the portal yet. Kansas had Flory. I mean, ASU had a lot of these Big 12 teams. Arizona VSAR did hit the portal, so but a lot of these coaches, they kind of have like a bigger center ingrained into their offense and into their style of play. So it'll be interesting to see. You know, Buchanan, he's 6'11", so he can fill in, but you know, he averaged 22 minutes at Virginia, but wasn't really a standout. Are they going to make that jump with him like they did with Jackson?
Yeah, I would totally agree with you there. I think the biggest question right now is, you know, is Iowa State going to shift to more of a small ball type of approach next year? And I think TJ he seems to be a guy where, like philosophically probably isn't the right word. I think he tends to lean more on we're going to go with whatever game plan gives the talent on the floor the best chance to win rather than like we're just going to stick to the same mold we've done time and time again. So I could see them adapting. I could see them making changes in terms of stylistically how they play next year. I think Joshua Jefferson could have a big jump. I said last week that I think he could be an all Big 12 kind of guy next year. So I think, you know, you build around him and we'll see. It really depends, like you said, the development of this Buchanan guy. If he can become like a legit, you know, rim protector and then also give you the chance to like be a threat in the paint on offense, then you could probably go with a bigger lineup from time to time. Do what you've been doing for the most part the last 4 years now. If not, though, if he just kind of is a zero on offense, and I think he'll be a good defender regardless.
Yeah.
Coming from Virginia, all those guys do his defense.
Averaging 1 block a game as well. It's not like other teams put up a lot of shots against Virginia.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think offensively that's the key with him if he can beat that guy. But, yeah, so 3 transfers. This transfer class doesn't exactly pop off the screen by any means. It's not, you know, it's not going to get – admittedly, it's not going to get anybody overly excited about who's coming in. And I think this Rhodey guy, it doesn't sound amazing right now in terms of if he's going to come to Iowa State, but he hasn't committed anywhere yet. We'll see what happens. I know he's a Wisconsin native, so I don't know. If he ends up committing, though, I think that would be a big boost. He shoots 41% from 3, so he'd be that kind of Curtis Jones type of replacement, the guy who can just get out there and knock a shot down. But, yeah, this staff brought in Robert Jones. They brought in Jazz Kuntz, and those guys were just admittedly bad basketball players. And the staff turned them into Big 12 caliber players. You know, not all Big 12 guys, but guys who could compete. So I trust the vision here. I trust the development. Unfortunately, the Clough thing is a miss. I think at this point, honestly, I'd be even more bummed if Rhodey doesn't come. I think that guy could be he could be really good and fit right into this system, but we'll see. Hey, we can still do the president's thing because James Buchanan was a
We
president.
still can.
Buchanan and Jefferson. Although I think James Buchanan was a pretty bad president.
Yeah, I don't remember. He wasn't memorable, and that's usually not a good
I
thing.
think that guy was like I want to say he was the president right before Abraham Lincoln, so basically responsible for the Civil War.
Ooh,
So,
rough one. Yeah.
but I guess we can still do it.
Obviously, picking up Brody, like you said, great shooter, kind of Curtis Jones. But hey, these guys, they brought in Cujo, they brought in Keyshawn from Buffalo and UNLV, respectively. They elevated Chatfield's game as well. I mean, I was very outspoken on, I don't know what this guy's going to do. And he was a guy that ended up getting solid minutes and being like a very impactful player. Granted, he wasn't going to go out there and get you 10 points every single night, or he wasn't going to go out there and get you 10 boards, but impactful minutes was kind of the thing with him, and I thought he was fantastic at that. Right now, we're only at 11 scholarship players. You can have 13 maximum. From what I'm hearing, we're going to stay at 12, adding Rhodey or going out and getting someone new, whichever that would be. But it doesn't sound like they're going to go out and pick up like 2 more guys from the portal or go steal a commit from somewhere else. So,
well, that's where it sits right now. Maybe some news next week, but
for all we know, we could land Isaac McNeely. I mean, that's still a possible. He's not visiting here, but you never know.
What if Florida Badunga goes to Iowa State? Where's he?
Or Rylan Griffin? I think Indiana.
Is that where he's gonna go?
Yeah, he came to.
Darren
he went to
DeVries?
Indiana when he came over from, I think it was DRC. 'Cause his high school's out of Kokomo, Indiana.
Okay.
So he's got to do not contact. I'm just hoping it means he's either deciding between Kansas and Indiana, and he comes back. But Rylan Griffin entering the portal too. I
He was your guy.
Yeah, I texted my aunt and my grandpa, and I go, man, this is the last time I ever buy a jersey with a player's name on it in the transfer portal era. Because it's just not.
Yeah. No, why would you? There's no. It's insane.
Just buy the generic jerseys.
Yeah. There's no reason
yeah.
to buy one with the player's name on it. It's a waste of money. You get no idea how long they're going to stick around. You know, at this point, a guy who's a freshman that goes through 4 years and graduates from the university, and that is.
I mean, even Trey Holloway
these days,
junior at Michigan State, was Izzo regarded him as like one of his favorite players, and they were going to give him a bunch of money, and he started every single game, and he let him kiss the logo. He's a junior, and he let him kiss the logo because there was that fight. Was it then they were playing Michigan?
I think so, yeah.
But there was that little scuffle, and Holloway defended him, so Izzo let Holloway kiss the logo, and then today Holloway enters the portal. It's like, whoa, it's just insane.
It is the Wild West right now. Shall we move into talking the Final Four here?
Let's do it.
Maybe make some game picks.
Yeah.
With the first Final Four with all 1 seeds since 2008. It's been 17 years. But I can't say I'm super surprised. I really felt like, I know you and I both had Texas Tech coming out of whatever region it is that Florida came out of.
Was it South?
I think it might have been the South, yeah. But I can't say I'm super surprised that all 4 ones have made it. And what's crazy, too, is you look at KenPom, and those are the top 4 teams on KenPom. They're also 4 of the top 10 KenPom teams of all time. It's crazy how much the metrics actually can prove some of this stuff. Not always, crazy stuff happens, but
I mean, Texas Tech had that game won.
They
I
did.
still don't know what happened.
That was unbelievable. That was one of the all-time.
That was a tough night.
Yeah, because Florida, Texas Tech missed the front end of 2 1-1s.
2 1-1s in a
Florida
row.
knocks down
Walter
5
Clayton
threes
Jr.
in a
does
row.
what he does, and it was just unbelievable. And then Florida hit their free throws down the stretch. That's really all it was. So, just want to hop in straight to picking Florida and Auburn.
Yes, let's do it.
Man, it's like you said, 4 of the greatest teams in the history of college basketball, statistically and analytically. I'm just praying this Auburn team loses. I don't want Auburn is the only team I don't want to win out of this. Any other outcome is fine to some extent, but I just don't want Auburn to win. I don't care how talented they are. So give me Florida. If I keep betting against them, they eventually have to lose, right? At some point, they have to lose. So give me Florida to upset Auburn.
I'm right there with you. Janai Broome is also still banged up from what it sounds like. I think he's missing practice today and tomorrow, which is not a good sign for Auburn.
No.
I mean, he is the guy. So I think, you know what? Florida is probably the team that wins here, but for the sake of the exercise, I'll just take Auburn because, this is still part of our pick segment, which is this it for the year? Are we capping it at this here?
We can go into CWS as well if you
Okay.
want to.
Yeah, because how close are we? Do we have the records?
It is a 6-point or a 6-game difference right now. You're 73-51. I'm 67-57.
Okay.
So we both beat the record for most wins last year.
That's huge.
Yeah.
We're just becoming more of ball knowers by the
I think
year.
we're just throwing more games at it.
You look. This is probably true because we started those picks like probably midway through the college football season last year.
And I think we'd pick like 2 college football games a year.
But they can't tell us our ball knowledge is not increasing by the year.
I was 500 last year, and now I'm slightly above 5. I like 600. So,
yeah, I think it's all a ball knowledge thing. Okay, and then Duke Houston.
This might be the greatest game in the last 10 years.
I think so too.
It's a tough one. I'm gonna go with bias. Big 12, a huge win against this Duke team. If Houston wins this, it's a big knock on the SEC. It's the Big 12 is right where it belongs. We're back at the top of the podium. I think this Houston team is the best Houston team in a while. I really hope they do it. This one, though, I'm going to pick it now, obviously, but when it comes to game time, I'm going to put my bracket behind me. I'm going to put my bias behind me, and I'm going to watch it as a plain viewer of basketball. And if you do that, this may be the greatest game of all time. Or Duke could go out and blow them out by 20 like they did with Alabama. We don't really know.
Again, I'm right there with you. I want this for the Big 12 really, really bad. And Houston is such a fun team to watch.
Mm-hmm.
They are just full of dudes.
Dogs.
And guys that win, like just winners, pure winners. Kelvin Sampson, year in and year out, just recruits and develops guys who win games. And I think Duke is also full of winners, and they're also full of some incredible talent. Needless to say, 3
lottery picks.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, this could be one of the all-time great games. I'm going with Houston too. I think this is a team that, as good as they are, have been underrated all year long.
Yeah,
because the whole narrative has been, oh, the SEC is just far and above the rest this year, best conference in the land. You factor in Duke on the outside, but they're right there as well. And nobody's talked about Houston. They've kind of just flown under the radar all year. I think this is where they prove, how good they really are.
Do you know how many losses they have since Feast Week?
What is it, 1?
It's the 1 loss to Texas Tech in overtime.
That's crazy.
That is their only loss. They are just
Nobody talks about it.
It's Kelvin Sampson. Sampson. I mean, I think you expect it from it, which was kind of funny. I saw somewhere someone called him Kevin Sampson.
Oh, I think I saw
that too. The university said, get to know it right. It's Kelvin, and you can hold that L right here. And it was them after beating Purdue. So it was fantastic from the university as well.
Unbelievable. I think it was like a Purdue burner account that said who even is Kevin Sampson or something like that. Yeah, they kept the bookmark on that.
Good for them.
I've been surprised. I didn't think Houston would be this dominant in the new Big 12. I really didn't, but they have.
Man, the out-of-bounds play to end the game, the scouting from that, the coaching.
Masterpiece.
I was watching it. I was on the phone with our good friend Jack Kumagai, friend of the program.
Shout out, Jack.
And I think for 2 minutes straight or 3 minutes straight, I was got that's the greatest piece of coaching and inbounds plays I've ever seen. Taking what they've done all game and all season and using it against them to get a wide open layup. You can't draw it up better than that. I mean, that was just, jaw on the floor right there. Once again, Kelvin Sampson, perfection.
No one saw it coming. All right, shall we hit our 3 for 3 here and call? Oh, I wanted to do an update quick. The rundown bracket pool.
Oh. I haven't looked since the
10
Texas
of
Tech
us,
loss. I haven't looked at any of my brackets, unfortunately.
All 10 of us. I think you're still sitting well. You and I are in this real bracketology one as well. I think you're right up there. So here we go. Top to bottom. Currently sitting in first right now at 96 points. Coonser for 3, which is Ross Polking on the Elite Jazz Coons reference. Number 2 would be Casey Schieschler. 93 points. High on Point is his name.
High on Point.
Robert Jones reference for me, Big Rob Energy, number 3 at 90. followed by Jake's Love Machine, Jake Euling, followed by shout out here Connor Dummermuth, family friend, big Cyclone fan.
There you go.
87 points. He's got Duke winning, so if Duke wins it all, I think he probably takes the bracket pool this year.
Yeah.
And then to round it out, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In this order, we have my sister Caitlin, your grandpa, shout out Dan.
Dano.
My sister Jenna, my mom, and then my sister Brinley. So
Dano, that is not great company to be in.
Bulking ladies and Dan Holt have got to they've got their work cut out for them next year.
I don't know if I can take any of his thoughts on college basketball right now, if that's kind of where he's at in the bracket. That's all I'm going to say right now. Grandpa, you need a comeback year next year. I'm sorry. I think he was middle of the pack last year too, if I remember.
Yeah. It's just maybe
who's Ross got
a down kind of couple years here. I don't know.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
He's focused on golf.
He
retires and focuses on golf too much. Not a ball knower like we are.
Perfectly fine. But
who's Ross got to win it?
He's got Houston. So I think.
So we're out of it.
Well, it depends on who his natty is.
Well, I can't gain points in the natty. I had Texas Tech.
So, okay, he has Houston beating Florida. I have Houston beating Auburn. So if that shakes out, then
you want Auburn to win.
Yes. And
he
then
wants Florida.
He wants Florida.
And I'm getting third for the love of the game.
And then if Florida wins, you'll be right there, Casey. If Florida wins, Jake's got it. If Duke wins, Connor's got it. So the bottom 5 there are effectively out of the comp at this point.
Man, that Texas Tech loss come back to get me in all my brackets.
Oh, I had him right there in the Final Four too, dude. I mean, you had him in
I had
the
finals, dude.
Yeah.
High hopes.
Tough. Okay, 3 for 3 here.
All right, starting with my not 3 for 3. Nick Mangione, the manager of Kentucky baseball, purposefully stalling time in the 8th inning because Kentucky has a travel curfew, meaning no new inning can start after 5:30 Eastern. They were beating Texas A&M 10-5 in the bottom of the 8th with 1 out, and they completely stalled it out, not allowing the inning to finish before 5:30. So that means the 9th inning would have started after 5:30. So they called the game because they have a travel curfew rule set in. A&M head coach Mike Early was very vocal about it, very upset. But
they can just do that? They can just
some teams have it, so they get back to campus for Sunday games.
Okay.
Which, I understand. But, to be fair, Early was upset about it, but then he turned around and he said, we got to score more runs. We got to play better if we don't want to be put in that situation. We got to have the lead, or we got to make it a one-run game,
I guess.
So,
interesting. Okay, my not 3 for 3 is the transfer portal being open on April Fool's Day.
Awful.
Just the worst.
Or just before the national championship in general.
Yep. We can go on that tangent again. Both of those things are just awful for civilization.
My number 3, Yuki Tsunoda, F1, promoted to Red Bull Racing just ahead of the Chinese Grand Prix. He is Japanese, but it sounds like a lot of his family and his fans are making the trip over. It's his first time. It's basically like going from an American conference team to the SEC right before going to play in front of all your family. So good for him. He's worked hard for it, and he deserves it.
All right, my number 3. The White Sox are currently on pace to outdo their win total last year by 40 wins.
Yeah, dude, they're on fire right now.
2-2 start.
It's good baseball.
Go Sox. Yeah.
My number 2 is Minwoo Lee grabs his first PGA Tour victory by holding off Scotty Scheffler and former Jayhawk Gary Woodland, who also, shout out to him, it is his best finish since having brain surgery. So, love to hear it.
Awesome. My number 2, this is way overdue, but the NFL is finally implementing a rule where both teams will be allowed to possess the ball in overtime in the regular season, not the postseason. I don't know.
Who knows?
That's not what Adam Schefter said, or he didn't have that included. But
did that come out today?
Season. Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was an April Fool's thing. I didn't look into it too heavy. I think it is real because I went back and I looked on ESPN. But the first time I saw it pop up on my phone, I was like, "Oh, that's funny," and I scrolled past it. So
this is a tweet from Adam Schefter, unless he's just totally.
Unless Shefty got hacked again.
Oh, that'd be horrible. That did happen, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
My number 1, Missouri State baseball, comes back, scores 5 runs in the 9th inning to tie it against number 2 Arkansas. And then in the top of the 10th, their first batter goes deep, and they grab the win against the number 2 team while they're on the road.
Missouri State?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a couple Elkhorn North alums on that team, I want to say. Maybe 1 or 2. They're what are they, the Griffins?
No, the Bears.
Bears. Oh, I'm thinking of. I don't even know.
I don't know who you're
what
thinking of.
Yeah, it's not Northwest Missouri State.
'Cause that's the Bearcats.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
beats me. My number one. Hang on one second. I gotta pull up this tweet. So Michi Johnson,
Yeah.
transfer from Ohio State. He started his career at Ohio State, played 2 years there, transferred to South Carolina in 2022, played 2 seasons there, transferred back to Ohio State, and now he's in the portal, and he's transferring back to South Carolina.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's
Michi, that is just insane. What are we doing?
who knows, man. It's the portal.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in this week. It's the off season. We thank you for coming aboard with us, and we plan to stick around here. So we'll see you guys all next week.